So come along, we're going to show you around. We had to cut this big, beautiful spruce tree down in order to give sunlight to our sun house, which is right behind you. And
So we needed water for our sun house, so we decided to run a pump to the brook. And we knew the brook, we weren't sure exactly how far the brook was, we could hear it. So we
just started making a path right through the woods.
Just clear a little way so we could get our 2-inch transfer pump here. It's gas powered. We use it to transfer water from the creek to the 1,000-liter tote. And we just cover it up. We just throw the intake into the brook and pump the water out.
And fill up our big container back there.
And whoever found it, pioneered this land, homesteaded it or whatever, clearly picked a lot of rocks.
Look at all the rocks too.
There's basically rock wall all the way around the whole 100 acres. We don't have hydro at this spot, and I was showing you how we get water to the tote, but that doesn't get the water to the sun house. So I went to Princess Auto and I purchased a 12-volt transfer pump, which was it was on sale for $39, and I asked my mechanic if he had any batteries kicking around that were still decent, weren't good enough to run a car, but would be able to run my pumps and things. And he said, sure, take that. So never hurts to ask. Save a little money instead of spending $100 on a battery. You can usually get them pretty cheap. So this is rather important. Whenever you're hooking up anything, you always want to make sure your red is on positive and your negative is black. So then here's the little power switch for the pump, and you just turn that on. One other thing, these pumps are rather delicate, so we always make sure that the nozzle's open when we turn the pump on, so that it doesn't have to fight hard it might burn it out and give it trouble. So now the water's running. House. We bought this piece of land 2 years ago now, and there was a couple sheds on it, and there was probably 20 or 25 windows just stacked up inside the sheds, which are over that way. So we thought, well, let's build a sun house and use the windows to our advantage. So we figured out what size windows we had, measured them all up, and
laid it all out on the ground.
We laid it out according to what was going to fit. So we had these 3 great big windows, and we said, well, I think we can make that work. So we look at the cucumbers escaping.
This is a tomato plant escaping inside.
Oh, is it tomato?
Yeah. Anyway, this was not very easy for us because we had the beam up there that wasn't lining up with the beam on the back, and we were trying to get it back and forth to get the level.
And I didn't have it square enough, and then I started putting in the cross pieces, and then it was a bit of a nightmare trying to get it to line up. But If you don't look really close, it looks great.
And we're still married, so
And we don't call ourselves carpenters.
we're just working together to make a good life.
I just try to build things. I'm definitely not a carpenter. But we definitely figured out how to grow cucumbers. They seem to be doing rather well
We
in here.
actually, this was actually intended to be just a sun house, to come in here and get our sunshine. Then it was springtime when we built it, and we decided, well, let's make a few boxes to put some cucumbers and tomatoes. And we've actually gotten quite a few tomatoes out of here so far. And this is the first time I've ever planted chili peppers and cayenne pepper. But look down here. If you open this up, you see a great big cucumber. Isn't he beautiful?
Growing on top of the pepper plant.
That's a long vine. And my lovely geranium. Parsley. Look at the cucumbers there. Oh.
Yeah, that's the sun house.
Now, as you can see, the plants are starting to die off because we've been so busy and we haven't been watering things so efficiently. But these were an idea that I seen on YouTube, where you put a little piece of sponge down at the bottom in the hole, and then you fill it with water, and the water will just seep out slowly over time. So I used to water this really well and fill these up. So I always water these plants, and then before I leave this little box, I fill these up. Just a case at a time.
So these tomatoes are actually the seeds from tomatoes we purchased at Costco, but they were called tomato. They kind of turn purple, not red.
Purpley red.
Yeah, they turn quite dark purple. So
They're not quite ripe
they're not
yet.
ripe yet.
So as I was saying, I have never grown pepper plants before, but I thought, you know what, my husband doesn't really care for pepper plants because they're so hot. But so what I did, I whizzed them all up, I put them in with some olive oil and whizzed it again, made like a paste, put it in a jar, put it in the fridge, and anytime you want to just add a little bit of zest to something that you're cooking, you just take a little spoonful, and it's beautiful.
So inside of our utility shed that was on the property when we purchased it was, random things that people leave behind, like a perfectly good old ugly countertop, which we used here, and this happened to be the miter edge. So we thought, well, why don't we just put that in with the miter edge so that we can have a nice little, I think it was probably a couple feet longer, but I just cut it to fit with the skill saw, just hacked it off there and made a little brace to hold it up. And this is now when I need to file my saw or something, I just put my chainsaw right on here and file it. But we'll show that in another video.